Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and I wanted to show you the Mystic Vale Conclave expansion, which is clearly, both an expansion and a huge box to hold everything for Mystic Vale, so you no longer need this original box. See, mine is empty, but dang, look at that size comparison. Now, we don't really do unboxings on our channel anymore, so it's not like I just bought this and I'm going to open it up for the first time. I actually have all of my Mystic Vale stuff in here, so I wanted to show you both, what comes in the box, but also how everything fits in here together, just so you can kind of, know before you buy. The first thing I wanted to talk about with this expansion is just how massive it is. Now, I do have it next to a couple of these other big boxes for other games, and just look at how much taller it is. Now, that is because the cards are stored vertically and not horizontally, which is kind of a strange choice, I do say. But look at that, it's almost as tall as Cutthroat Caverns and Red Dragon Inn combined. And now let's dive right into the box. I know you're saying, hey Tom, how come you have the box sideways? Well, I kind of do and I kind of don't. Let me go ahead and take the top off here. It's a big old top. And everything is kind of held in this fashion, which I guess is the start of my first, minor complaints, is that it's printed, kind of sideways. But whatever, that's not that big a deal. So on the top, obviously, I have the rule books, but you may say, hey Tom, you're missing a rule book. That's right, viewer. I don't have Vale of Magic, but even without that, even after I get Vale of Magic and some more promos, I do have a few of the promos, but not all of them, there's clearly enough room to probably even fit it all in just this one row. But then we have this whole other empty row here, and this row that kind of has just some of the mismatchy stuff. But let me show you, so every divider here, level 1, level 2, level 3, advancements, fertile soils are separated out. You have, I skipped over that. Leaders are also in there. You have level 1 Vales, level 2 Vales, and Totems, which is a new card type that I'll talk about in a second. And then each player deck is separated out here, which I really like that they did that. They didn't just have, player decks all lumped together in one. And also, the decks have names. Beast Brothers is the red, and Dawn Seekers is the yellow. I actually didn't know that. I don't know if that's in the main rulebook, and maybe I just missed it. But of course, they also gave you 2 extra ones, the Life Wardens, so this silver player color now. And what is this? Night Vale gives you a purple player color, because now, of course, you can play up to 6 players. And they gave you some extra dividers. I used a blank one here to separate out the turn phase things, whether you want to do that or not. And speaking of extra dividers, so they give you a lot of extra dividers. I'll show you real quick what all of them are. So there's more splits for the level 1's advancements and stuff. So they give you 3 copies of each. 3 copies of the 2 Vale ones and the level 1, 2, and 3 advancement ones. Mainly just, let's say if you want to have your decks kind of split up and say, well, this is what I play with the beginner game and this is what I play with my advanced players or whatever. It's not for expansions. I initially thought that, but then there's, 4 expansions. There's 3 expansions plus a base game, and then 3 copies of each of these. It's slightly not enough. Then they give you a bunch of blanks, and then they give you, these are the Conclave. So one of the new mechanics that is involved in this expansion is they give you recommended separation of the decks here. So they say use these Vales, and tells you when they're from the base game or an expansion, and use these advancements. Have those separated out. There are 14 of them. And when you play a Conclave game, you pick 6 of these 14 sort of separated out mini decks and mix those together and play with those. And that just sounds like a lot of work. It sounds cool, but it also sounds like a lot of work. And now, of course, since you can go up to 6 players here, they have the day-night phase thing. So that way you have this over, I'm not going to put them together, but you have those over the 2, you have 2 buying phases. You have advancements here for day player, advancements here for night player. So there's day and night players playing at the same time, and the tokens pass like that. So the game doesn't last super duper long. Some things got a little thrown around here. We have these little trays here to hold. Here are the original mana tokens, or start player tokens. You have the 5s and 1s, and then a whole extra tray here. So here are those super cool ones that came in Mana Storm. And then here's the day-night tokens that we were talking about. And they also gave you these to count your Vale mana, whatever that's called. All those different symbols in case, you feel like you're getting a whole bunch in one turn. You're trying to decide, did I spend a wild for this card or did I just spend an actual brown for that card? Well, I don't think it's super necessary, but it is nice to include in there. And, I gotta say, probably the biggest complaint that I have about this is that these don't fit. They just barely don't fit in there. They're just too wide to fit across like this. I mean, you can kind of, the box will be stretching a little bit. I don't feel super comfortable doing that. So I do it like that, and then just throw these extras in here. But all of these are separated, right? So this is just one big empty box if you took all of that out. Like in their Smash Up expansion, I think it was, or definitely Red Dragon Inn does this, the dividers are like part of the box. So I know Broken Token already has a insert for the main box, but again, you could just take these out. Broken Token could do an insert for this big box that, does a little bit better than this. This is nice, but I'd like to see some stuff a little bit better in a better place for these and, stuff like that. So I would definitely like to see that. Broken Token, if you're watching, totally do that. Also, the only other complaint I have is these dividers are kind of thin. They're just, made out of regular card material. Not like, I'm pretty certain in Smash Up they had like those plastic ones, or even in Red Dragon Inn, they were, actual thick punch board. But this is, they look nice and everything, but I could have done a little bit better. But that's pretty much everything we got there. Well, nerds, I really hope that gave you a good idea of what comes in the Mystic Vale Conclave expansion and kind of how everything fits in there. Well, everything except for Veil of Magic, but obviously that would clearly fit in there with no problem. I do think this is a really good storage solution. There's a couple little problems that I have, little like sort of nitpicky problems really, but hey, if Broken Token can make an insert for this big box that holds everything a little bit better, then I would certainly get that immediately. And I'm going to go ahead and put purchase links to this box, the other Mystic Vale expansions, the Broken Token insert for the base game, and then if they do make one for this, I'll go ahead and put one down there as well. And hey, while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored. If you do get Conclave, y'all don't really need to throw out your original Mystic Vale box. You can use it to smuggle booze into places.